All right, guys. We are here. It is the American qualifier for the Last Chance tournament. That might not sound important, but it is, because these two German players are currently 5 points away in the ESL Pro Tour standings that decide who gets into the World Championship. Now, at the moment, they are both locked in for making it to the play-in stage at the World Championship. So, awesome. Why does that matter? Because right now, LAMBO is 5 points ahead of SHOWTIME. So this is LAMBO in the bottom right side, Shopify Rebellion. His opponent in the top left is SHOWTIME, representing big esports, Berlin International Gaming. So why does that matter? Because the player, LAMBO, right now, 5 points ahead, which is a drop in the ocean. It's almost nothing. If it stays with him in the lead, he will be getting the spot into the round of, I think it's 24? The round of 24, the group stage of the World Championships. Whereas SHOWTIME, if he doesn't beat LAMBO here and overtake him and get into the Last Chance tournament and get more points than him there, he's going to have to play through the play-in stage. Now, what's the play-in stage? The play-in stage of the World Championship is basically, it's like you rock up to the tournament and you play this giant bracket of a bunch of the best players in the world that have like missed out on qualifying for the group stages that are just below that in the points. You're going to be playing against the Beyonds, the Gumihos, a bunch of these absolutely godlike players, and very few of those actually can get spots in the group stage from there. So it's a way better start if you're seeded right into the group stage. You're guaranteed way more money at the World Championship, even if you don't win a map there. And of course, your chances of going really far and even winning that World Championship are massively increased because you don't have to play through so many opponents and show off all your best strategies before the tournament's even really begun. So SHOWTIME, of course, is, I think, the slight favorite here. That being said, LAMBO is an absolute killer, and he is the king of the Queen Walk. Now, SHOWTIME does lose his probe there trying to do this pylon block, but that's okay because his adept will block the third. He's going to force LAMBO to go over there. LAMBO was expecting this. He's already got a drone at each base. Oh, LAMBO, very cute, very cute. He was expecting this from SHOWTIME. He just pulls that back. SHOWTIME cancels the pylon, and LAMBO takes the other third base. So you can tell there's a meta between these two where they understand each other's tricks. SHOWTIME was just trying to get the pylon there to block long enough for the adept to come in and block. And of course, a couple of Zerglings without link speed cannot handle an adept. Now, for those who don't know, SHOWTIME is not a Void Ray Turtle player. He is a very big macro player, but he likes to play ground. He likes to play Oracle into ground Protoss. Now, he'll play Skytoss. He'll play very defensive late game if he has to, or if he thinks it's the best chance of winning. But SHOWTIME actually likes playing triple Oracle, sometimes double Oracle, maybe one Void Ray. But if he can completely skip Void Rays and maybe just make a Stalker to kill the Overlord, he'll actually go with that. And I'd say traditionally, when he's playing Dark or Rogue, one of these best Korean Zergs, Swarmhost Nidus is his massive weak point. And it always has been. For a couple of years now, SHOWTIME will look godlike in certain games, and then they pull out the Swarmhost Nidus, and it seems like it does very well. Nonetheless, hold that thought. 2 adepts going down. Good surround from LAMBRO, though. For those who don't know, LAMBRO is one of his nicknames, and it's because he's not really the kind of guy to have a Lamborghini. He's a bit more of a bro. His last name is actually Bo3 PvZ, which is German for the biggest of bros. So it's Julian Bo3 PvZ. SHOWTIME, of course, Tobias Zeba, which I don't know, Zeba? I like saying it. I like making it sound like it's said stupidly because German names are fun. He is, of course, the Wall. The question is, does a Wall really help you against a guy that might just Queen Walk? Even if you go double or triple Oracle, which SHOWTIME loves to do, are you going to be able to defend? If that Queen Walk comes across this map, are you going to be able to do it? And just realized that we might actually have the bracket link up from yesterday on our bracket link on the live stream. So hopefully people remind me as this game's winding up, and I'll try and edit that right after this game. I don't think, unless one of our mods is able to do that for me, but we'll see how it goes. Right, Roachwarren, double gas. Guys, this is a little late for the super quick Queen Walk. He could do a 55, 56, 57 drone Queen Walk off this, but this looks a bit more like a macro setup for LAMBO. You expect those gases to be down at closer to 4 minutes 10, finishing at about 4 minutes 40, whereas in this case, they finished at 5 minutes. So that 20-second delay, it's not everything, but it is significant. No more drones and 8 overlords, though. So that's a Queen Walk. It's a 51 drone Queen Walk, apparently. I think he built way too many overlords. 7 more. Oh, no. Guys, LAMBO just built way too many overlords. I think he built the overlords and then forgot he built them. And then he built another round. He has 80 free supply right now. 80 free. That's way too much. This is going to hit really late. I'm telling you, Lambo, his biggest critic, is going to be so annoyed at himself for this, guys. Now, we've got Battery, Cannon, Immortal, Sentry building. Not a lot of damage output in that army. How many gateways have we got? 1, 2, 3. He's going to have 4 gateways up, and he's trying to go Robo Bay. Now, I don't think we're going to bother with too many stasis traps. He might. I feel like Lambo's very good against those stasis traps. Lambo still with 60 supply free, so definitely not the most perfectly timed attack, but at least he doesn't have to worry about putting overlords for a while. He could run into that main, potentially. Does get the barrier off on the Immortal. Loses only a Zergling and a few hit points. Not too bad there. Cannons with the spready. Now, Biles right there on both those cannons would be big. I love the cannon battery pylon behind the mineral line where it's hard for that Zerg player to get on it. Ooh, battery overcharge already goes down in the back. Very nice battery overcharge coming in, guys. That's tanking a lot of damage. You can see Lambo's realizing he can't really get the damage on that. He's going to get this cannon that's out of range of the healing. He one-shots it. And the Immortal Sentry, he's starting to clean up some of these units. The Stalker's adding some damage as well. The Oracle's focusing down a few of these Ravages. That cannon in the back is going to go down, and when that falls, he's out of damage output. When that cannon falls, I think Showtime's been overrun here, guys. The Immortal falls, he's got nothing left to do damage. 3 Stalkers, the Oracle has to fall back. It's out of energy as well. And that's it. He's done it. He's broken him. Way too many Overlords for Lambo, but the power of a Queen Walk, and this is Berlingrad. But it is Berlin International Gaming's Showtime that looks like he's going to struggle to hang on. You know what? He's still about even in workers, but as those links surround his rally of Stalker and Immortal, we see it just was not quite enough, and he does get taken down. GG, well played. Well, he is one of the most effective players to kill a Protoss player who relies on those flying units in the early game. And like I said, his gases looked a little later. It didn't look like he was going to go for the same attack timing. It wasn't as telegraphed, but poof. Didn't matter. Even with an extra 4 or 5 Overlords gone on top of what he needed, that was well done. Shopify Rebellion's Lambo, the master of the Queen Walk. His opponent in the bottom right, this is Showtime. Now, I believe after, I believe we're going to have, I think it's 20 players already are qualified. I don't know if it's 20 or 16 that get qualified into the group stage for BlizzCon. And then it's either 4 or 8 spots get in from the play-in stage at Katowice or at the World Championship. So it's going to be interesting to see which way that goes. But I'm very curious to see how it all unfolds and unravels. Shopify Rebellion's Lambo here is going to be going Hatch Gas Pool, real standard. Now Showtime is going to skip the Scout this game. So I imagine he went Gas before Gateway. That's normally what you do if you're going to skip Scouting. It's just a bit more efficient. It allows your extra workers to be mining on that gas early. And you still go 20 Nexus. You pause probe production there, so you're going to see no extra probe queue. You start the Cyber Core, and it's just going to be real normal. Now, he might Scout after the Cyber Core if he wants to check for, like, Hatch first on the gold. But Showtime's like, screw it, my Adept can Scout. So after that, you start your probe, you build a second gas, he's going to queue 1 more probe, and then he'll build a second pylon. Probably, a lot of people like to build it here, so there we go. We see that extra probe queuing up. He's going to build it over here, so he just wants the Stargate to rally out very quickly. And this doubles up because it gives you a lot of production space, and it spots the edge of the map. So no sneaky elevator of Zerglings in the main, no sneaky Nidus Worm in the corner. So even though it's kind of easy technically for an Overlord to peek in and see what's here, it does serve multiple purposes. So nice play from Showtime. You're going to see him delay his warp gate research and immediately go for a very fast target at 2 minutes 12. Oh, the power of skipping the Scout and getting that gas first, dude. So sick. My man. Ooh. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dragon. Fear Dragon in the chat. I am going to replay those alerts in a moment. And yeah, I have not checked that in a while. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to give you guys some shout-outs to a few different people supporting the channel in between the games, trying to keep this a bit more YouTube-friendly. If you're watching on YouTube and going, stop talking to the chat, just remember, guys, people are cheering, and I am ignoring them for you. If this makes it over to YouTube, which I hope it will, because I really think this is such an important match. Showtime and Lambo, it's like, yeah, they're 2 German players. That's cool. They're friendly with each other. They've practiced in years gone by, but are they actually fighting for the exact same thing right now? Yes. Do they want to kill each other brutally and savagely and take that position in the World Championship? Yeah. Yeah, there's no holds barred right here. And Showtime is going to be a little annoyed after the way that last game went. Remember, his first 3 Adepts did Jackal. Oh. Okay. Gets a drone. Shades into the main as well. He's just straight diving. Going to get at least 4 drones here. I don't think he gets a 5th one, though. Good micro from Lambo. But a Spore Trick costs you money. and 4 drones. Does he let that spore finish? He might just let that finish and then maybe move it into the main. There's only 1 queen in the main, but second queen pops out. Look at the timing on this. Oracle enters the base. Second queen pops. Third queen walks up here. Oracle says, okay, no worries. Gotta leave. Behind this, we've got a second gateway up. He's going to go out for the pylon on the third base. The adept hanging out there as well. Oracle coming out. Now, you often see these shades, and you might wonder, why do they do this? It's just so if they get caught by Zerglings, they can micro in one direction, while the shade takes them to safety in another direction. Just a bit of insurance. The earlier you have that shade out, the earlier you can use it to just teleport to safety if some sort of surprise harm comes your way. If you don't have the APM and the actions for it, it's not high priority, but these guys are, of course, playing at 200 to 500 actions per minute. Lambo's a bit inflated, of course, because of his modified keyboard settings and the fact that he's building Zerg units. But look at that, guys. This is a great trade for Lambo. Lambo's getting so many little edges here. And that's really nice. 8 Zerglings for a few Adepts is really good. Helps make up for those 4 drones that went down. Of course, the Oracles have done nothing so far. And that's such a big part, I find, in the Oracle versus Zerg game. If the Oracle Adept can get just a few more workers early, slow down their economic growth, things can get really nasty. They can get really nasty. Now, he wants scouting info pretty bad, because this is that time where you're like, dude, I need to see if there's gases in Roach Warren. Now, he sees the gases. Oh, he doesn't see the gases, but he sees the Roach Warren just started, so he knows it can't be a super fast Queen Walk. That's just a late enough Roach Warren. Let's go to Showtime's vision. Now, if Showtime was worried right now, guys, he would be building a Robo Bay and cannons. He'd be trying to go Disruptors and Cannons, but instead he goes Twilight Council. Twilight Council isn't going to help you against a Queen Walk, because if you go Blink or Charge, whichever one, you're going to have only a handful of Stalkers or Zealots by the time a Queen Roach Walk comes. It's not important to, oh, I've got a utility upgrade on my 3 Gateway units. You know, it's not important. It's more like you just want defense. Now, he'll still build a cannon at the 3rd for safety. You've always got to be paranoid about those Queen Walks, even if they're delayed with Lambo. Now, most players would just play a technical muter game from here. Swapping into muters, swapping back into Roach Ravager, Queen Walk, swapping into late game from there, perhaps, maybe Lurkers. Lambo, I honestly, I don't know the last time I saw him play muters, and that's because I don't get to see that much Lambo play. Admittedly, I am not awake for a lot of the European tournaments. I tend to only watch a lot of the top 4s and sometimes, you know, highlight matches that people point out. And we have cast a few Lambo matches recently, but I haven't really seen him play much besides Queen Walk, aggression, and those sort of brutal pushes to punish the Void Ray builds, but Infestation Pit. Now that could just be for Hive, right? So there's 2 things. It's either Swarmhost Nidus, which I don't think it will be because I think it's a little late. I doubt it. It could be though, you never know. The other option is obviously just going Hive and making Lurkers and the like. Now he's making a Baneling Nest as well, which is interesting, but he makes it where the Scouts are coming in. He wants him to see the Baneling Nest. I think he wants Showtime to see that Baneling Nest. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. One of the Oracles does finally fall. Does he see the Infestation? He does not see the Infestation Pit. Showtime sees the Baneling Nest, not the Infestation Pit. Lambo is droning his 4th base right now. I often talk about the 4th base being a little bit of a trap. 2 Immortals, 3 Sentries, 3 Stalkers, and in the depth coming up here. A few Ling Ravage are going to try and deal with it. I think with the Oracles here... Oh, he's going to lose another Oracle potentially. Ow, 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 ow. Look at that. Kills the Spore Crawler, and that opens up the potential for the Oracles to dive in there shortly. He won't be able to get a Prism up here, and definitely something where Showtime just forcing a lot of army out, making sure Lambo doesn't go straight to 90 workers or something crazy. No Bane speed, and he goes straight Hive. As I said, that's a fake Bane Nest, guys. The Bane Nest makes you think he's playing Ravager, Ling, Bane. It could hit very aggressive attacks. It's a very mobile and scary army, but it was a fake out. It's going to be a Hive. Now, he's forgot the Hive. As I say that, he makes Bane speed and a... Oh, he's going Broodlord. It's Ravager Bane Broodlord. Right, okay. He is playing Ravager Bane Broodlord. Very good against Archon Immortal, right? Which is obviously what this composition is. Great stasis trap there. Very good stasis trap. He tries to trap some of the drones and queens there. Doesn't get too many of them, but he's denying a lot of mining here, and he's doing a lot of damage to those queens, actually. Could kill that Spore Crawler again as well. And every time you kill that Spore, it opens up chance for future attacks. Bane's trying to morph in. So the Zealots and the Archons are so good versus the Zerglings here. I think this is a great fight for Showtime. If he could trap some of those Ravagers, that'd be huge. The Oracles are going to fall back. He's still got those alive. He's got a 4th base going up behind it. Disruptor coming out 1 at a time. So what do we got? 7 gateways, 1 Robo. There is not crazy infrastructure for Showtime. And we are going to have the Hive and the Greater Spire coming in very soon. So you got to ask yourself, the question is, does Showtime realize? And right now, he does not. But this Phoenix is going to come in, and Showtime, he should be seeing what's up. He sees a very quick hive. He knows there's a Baneling nest. He's seen Banelings. He should be able to surmise that Broodlords are a threat. And that means seeing that the hive was just finishing. I don't think he saw it finish, or he saw it maybe just finished. He's got to fight in the next 2 minutes before Broodlords morph. So he wants to try and force Lambo to make Mass Ravager Bane, spend all his money on that, and trade with him here. Because the moment Broodlords get out, this Protoss army is not very good. Now notice we don't see Blink starting up or Stargates. So rather than transitioning, Showtime wants to just counter this army right now and fight right now. Oh, Disruptor gets kind of caught rallying, but it does chase Lambo back. A few more High Templar coming in. A crazy push up this ramp for Lambo. Of course, he's distracted by the Zealots in the top left. They've killed 4 drones right now. Fantastic play. This Ultralisk down there says, Lambo, free me! An Oracle does go down. That Ultralisk, of course, straining at his bonds, trying to get out of there. Banelings aren't very effective at against individual Zealots, guys. They're only good against clumps. And this gold base, it's a trap, man. I always talk about this gold being a trap. And I think Lambo, he took it knowing that, and he wanted to jump on Showtime when he pushed up here. But look at the way Showtime threatens the gold, pulls back to this high ground. I mean, he's abusing the positioning so well. Lambo's going to go across for a big old Ling Bane attack, but it's in vision. Showtime should be able to warp in some Zealots there. Stalker Force Field. Notice that Stalker there. He's going to try and wall that out. Are there Banelings left? No Banelings left. He had to use them all to take out the pylon. The probes pulled back. A quick recall to save that all. 5th base goes down. 4th base took a bruising. Broodlord Spire, the greatest Spire, only now starting. It feels like the surprise fast Broodlords is no longer really an option. And check this out. I said he wasn't going Stargates. Apparently I'm blind. I don't know when that happened, if it was before or after I said it. But he's decided to swap into carriers. And the carriers are going to pop out, at least the first few, before Broodlords hit the field. Starting air weapon attack upgrades as well. Against the no carapace upgrade Zerg, even without upgrades, the carriers will be good, but the more you get, the better. Storm is on the way as well. I said Showtime likes to go Oracles into ground. And he'll go late game if he feels the need. He's not really a player who kills people, but he's built nice advantages for himself. And I want to see him continue that. I understand there's a mass Roach Ravager Bane army. He doesn't want to risk pushing into it. So for him, he's probably visualizing a 6-carrier timing attack as his best chance to kill the opponent. He's already warping in High Templar. 2 of them have 4 storms between those 2 High Templar, kicking in just a few seconds. Of course, 75 energy per storm. Queen's in here, going to try and fight this Warp Prism. Does he warp in for now? No, the answer is no. Look at this Oracle tagging. So good for tracking that mobile army. It looks like the Banelings did clear up the Zealots, but not the most effective way to fight that. And great awareness. Showtime is just doing so well. And I got to ask myself, what do you do as Lambo here? Because you've got an economy, but you don't have the composition that scales. Ravager Bane is so inefficient. Like, ideally, you catch Showtime out of position, and you throw Banelings into a mineral line, and you do a big bunch of economic damage, and that kind of buys you time to transition. But right now, he's trying to build Corruptors. And Corruptors can beat carriers. And basically, it's just this very fragile, hard to orchestrate fight where Lambo's army can do it, but it relies on a lot of things going right. He needs Banelings to clear the Zealots and the High Templar. He needs the Corruptors to focus down the carriers without eating giant Archon and Storm hits on them, because that could just mean that the carriers straight up win the fight. Even though Corruptors are the counter, they're going to be covered by a lot of ground-based anti-air splash. And then you've got kind of Roach Ravager, which is like, well, we'll clean up the rest. But they're so supply inefficient for this late game stage. And you're like, man, I wish I had Broodlords. Man, I wish I had Hydras. I wish I had Infestors. Anything that's going to be a bit more supply efficient. Watch out for the Storms. Storms on the right side do not go down. Showtime does get some Force Field Storm, though. And that is brutal. That being said, Parasitic Bomb plus Corruptor Focus. He's going to cleanse the carriers. Will Lambo. It's his ground army that got dicked on, though. So he takes out all of the carriers there. Does get back. Great air versus air fight for Lambo. I think he killed 3 carriers for only 3 Corruptors and a Viper. Like, that's a great air versus air fight. Problem, didn't kill much of the ground army. Showtime does need to remake his High Templar, though. He's got Disruptors in there. He's got a lot of units he's managing. He's spending most of the gas on carriers. It's easy to not prioritize that. He's making Blink, which scares me because Blink is what people make when they feel like throwing the game. We've all seen Protoss players just get frustrated in late game and be like, I'm going to make 30 Blink Stalkers. And yeah, I mean, it can win games if you know, catch the Zerg off guard or whatever. It can also just be like, oh, now I'm stuck on 30 Blink Stalkers. Shit. This unit's not going to be good the longer this game goes. It's more of a surprise tactic. Archon Zealot catches some of these roaches. I mean, it's value. It's not the worst thing in the world by any means. Oh, look at that. Nice. He's got the spore coverage. The Corruptor Viper says, get out of here, you cheeky dickhead. No warping into my main base. Not today. Does get that Warp Prism Gold base still sticking out like a sore thumb. Lambo gonna have to abandon that mineral line yet again. Zealots and Archons able to walk right through as some of those mineral patches have been mined out. Broodlords have finally hit the field. The carriers try to focus fire that. Very cute. Bit of a carrier dive there. Does lose an Archon and a couple Zealots. He, oh, just pops a Viper out of the air just like that. Zealots on the south. Unfortunately, I think Showtime assumed there was a base there. He realizes there isn't. And he's like, oh, okay, I gotta go deeper. All right, let's do that. Wants to catch those Broodlords out. If he can just shift-click the Broodlords down with his carriers, his ground army can probably carry him to victory. Zealots do take out an Evo Chamber. I don't think they really denied any upgrades there. Another Evo Chamber builds to replace it immediately. Lambo's gold base, not really mining that much. His top right base looking good, and he's got this base here. So he is leading on the base count. He has more economy. And this is what Showtime likes to do, is establish positional leads. I look at the way a guy like Showtime plays, and he's so pristine with his map control and everything. I sometimes wonder if he's just an Age of Empires 2 player or Age of Empires 4 player in a StarCraft player's body, you know? Because he doesn't really want to just kill his opponent. He wants to just secure positional advantages. The Stalkers blink forward there. Just as I'm saying he doesn't want to kill, obviously he's got to take those Broodlords down, but he doesn't have enough units to do it, man. He's got to pull back now. He's going to lose a carrier. Where's the Psystorm? Disruptors come forward to chase off the roaches. The Psystorm's a little bit late to the party, and not the greatest fights for Showtime, I don't think. If we look at the end of that, let's actually bring up the battle report. Oh, we don't have the battle report mod on. Oh, what the hell? There's an Adept in there with 10 kills. Looks like a random Adept ran into that base. He only lost one carrier, but he only got one Broodlord, and he lost a lot of ground units, did Showtime. And you can see it in Lambo's supply, that Lambo's actually taking reasonably efficient fights. He's a little behind. I think that's mostly due, of course, to the 36 workers, the economic damage that Showtime keeps doing. That's where he's trading super well. I'm not good with numbers, but 36 times 50 minerals, 1,800 minerals in terms of workers have gone down versus just 3 probes, 150 minerals. So pretty big advantage there. Adrenal glands, +1 carapace, +3 melee, 3 infestors, a few corruptors, flyer carapace being added in to go with his +2 attack. Now, there's arguments behind carapace and attack. Corruptors want to kill these carriers as quickly as possible, but you also want armor to defend against the interceptor attacks. Some would argue, though, that it's actually the Archon Splash, which is massive damage, as well as the Storm. Both of which, well, Storm doesn't care about armor at all because it's spell damage, and the other ones don't care very much, simply because the Archon hits so hard that one armor doesn't change too much. The Zealots get another 11 drones, and like I said earlier, this is where all of Showtime's value is coming out of. It's these cheap units. He dives forward and grabs a couple of Broodlords, but a Yoinky Yoink does punish one of the carriers. Still feels like a better fight for Showtime, as he just says, hey, all your ground army's out of position, let's go, go, go. His carrier's just Chad-moding it. They're fighting the Corruptors, and there's not enough. There's only 6 Corruptors in the air. He's just caught him without enough units. Without enough units in the air. Lambo building a lot of roaches there and lings to try and defend the ground. And of course, that's what happens when you're behind all game. You're struggling for economy and to control space. And in the end, it does end up with Showtime tying up the series 1-1. All right, guys, we're going into game 3. Lambo in the bottom left of Hardwire. His opponent, Showtime, in the top right. Now, remember, guys, Showtime opened up greedy that last game. He skipped the scout. He went gas first. And he turned that smoother opening into a bigger advantage, right? He looked really nice. Even though his oracles didn't find big damage, his adepts were a bit more successful. This time he goes for the scout. He's cautious. He's worried about 12 pool. About, you know, Lambo kind of sneaking one over on him with a 12 pool, maybe a speedling all in. Now, part of the reason your probe hangs around and, ooh, Showtime accidentally mines 5 minerals there, a bit of a mistake, is often you want to hang around if you're worried about speedling all in. And this is a tip for anyone who's like, well, why do people hang around with their probe? You're watching the lava when the pool's almost done. So when the spawning pool is almost finished, so this can look totally normal like a hatch first, but if they don't build that drone, they don't build this drone, they have 2 lava, a 3rd one's about to pop out, you'll see a little wriggly boy pop out in just a moment, and then they could build 6 Zerglings, plus 2 more. 8 Zerglings the moment their spawning pool finishes. And then your probe, if your probe's already left, those 8 Zerglings sneak around, they maybe build 10, 12, and as your adept comes across the map and gets about halfway across the map, just after your first shade finishes, 10 Zerglings go in and depower your gateway, and they can kill you. So this is why the probe hangs around at pro level. I remember for a long time I never did this with my probe, and I got away with it for like 6 months because I just didn't run into anyone on the ladder who was doing a speedling all-in. And the speedling all-in came back into the meta, and everyone was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit, because I just kept dying, and I was like, dude, how do I know when they're doing this stupid speedling all-in? And he's like, oh, well, that's why your probe hangs around, I realized. It's not just to spot the third, it's to see, are they coming out with Zerglings? It's, are they banking lava to build a big back of Zerglings? So Showtime just checking all these things, dotting his I's, crossing his T's, and saying, you, Mr. Bo3, you are not going to spam me out, to cheese me out of this series. I'm going to get me Stargate, I'm going to make my oracles like I do every single game, and we're going to have a bit of a party. Now, Showtime's a little predictable. He always goes triple oracle, right? Almost always. Not every game, but almost always. And part of me is like, man, where's the surprise double Phoenix after the first oracle or this or that? Cancel the shade, cancel the shade. Bad shade. I mean, it's not the worst. He's going to get 3 or 4. Oh, okay, good micro, good micro. He's going to get 3 drones and then he will get taken down. But I really think he actually could have kept these adepts alive. Because he saw the Zerglings were chasing him in the main, and the Queens were on the other side of the Evo chamber, the drones were down here. So he could have just cancelled it, ran around, and then he could have ran back down and shaded into the main or out of the base without losing those adepts. So I think Showtime's been a little bit overly aggressive, and these trades, obviously, you might think, oh, you're killing drones, drones is good. It gives up momentum. Those adepts can pair up with the oracles and be way more effective. I really do feel, as good as Lambo is, there is the potential for a player who is, Neeb when he's on point in PvZ. God tier with the Adept Oracle. Trap, obviously always one of the best. And we've even seen guys like Serral occasionally basically lose the game to the first few Adepts and Oracles, right? If the Protoss player keeps them alive, keeps going in, going out, gets a few Zergs, gets a few drones, comes in again, the Zerg can end up just a little too far behind the curve. And even the best Zergs in the world can struggle against that occasionally and suffer against it. And if you don't lose the units, they can defend this sort of thing as well. Now that's great Adept positioning. I do wish he warped that Adept in the mineral line. So I would argue this is bad positioning on these warp-ins for Showtime. He loses an Oracle, but he gets 7 drones, 8 drones. That's worth losing an Oracle. I'll give you that one. And as much as he loses 2 more Adepts, this is an F2. That's an accidental move. He's F2'd across the map, I believe, guys. I don't think that Adept would be going across otherwise. Yeah, it moves back now there for Showtime. I'll bring up the control groups for both players, guys, so you can see those down there on the right side of your screen. Coinbase, I guess is slightly blocking that, so maybe I won't. It's a bad look. Sorry, guys. I'll tell you if there's any cool control groups going on, all right? I'll let you guys know. Oh, this is... Oh, no, the Polish Gambit. Lambo chucking in a laser here, skipping the Spore in the main for such a long time. He builds it in the natural in the third, which means you're meant to have 2, at least 2, preferably 3 Queens in the main this whole time. He doesn't do it, and guess what, guys? 2 Oracles have died. Yeah, that's quite a lot, but he's kept the economy even. That's usually decent for the Protoss player, especially when there's no quick glare, there's no quick Roach Horn, so there's no real threat of a counterattack right now. Lambo, though, does take a fast 4th. Lambo says, look, if I can't counterattack you, that's fine. I will just regrow my economy very quickly, and I will use economic pressure. I will build my economy so fast, you feel pressure to either expand to your own 4th base or to do damage to me. Twilight Council's on the way, Robo Bay as well. 3 sentries, an Adept, 2 Zealots, and an Immortal coming across the map. Oracle gonna chill on out. +1 range on the way. Guys, we've got 6 gases up and the Spire. Now, Lambo, is he good at Spire play? I always feel like a lot of Zergs look incredible or shit with Spire play. And it's based on how well the Protoss reads it and defends, and in this case, that is not going to be a Spire he commits to. The reason, guys, is that got scouted 25% complete. Now, he might let it finish, but I think there's an argument behind, you shouldn't have put that there. If you don't want that to get scouted, you put it here. That's the easiest place to defend, right? Like here or something like that. Somewhere where it's going to be harder. Maybe out here is actually probably the hardest for your opponent to get to, because there's so much creep, so much room for you to intercept it before they get there. So even though it's a little dangerous on the ground. Now, a lot of roaches on the way. There's pressure from Showtime. Maybe could have pushed in a little earlier, but with 4 tanky Queens, 3 transfuses between them, now the Roachling coming out, not going to be the case. Showtime takes a 7-minute 4th base. Old school, baby. He's going OS, baby. And that just shows how well he's reading the play. He's realizing, wait a second, nah. But you know what's crazy as well? I said he wasn't going to commit to the Mutas. Showtime only just started the Phoenix as the Overseer moved in, and that tells Lambo, that SHOWTIME is not respecting it. So SHOWTIME's playing the double mind game. He says, I know you have a Spire, therefore you know that it's not going to work. So I don't even need to hard counter it. I only need to build 1 or 2 of Phoenix, and that's an amazing trap. Dude! Lambo caught waddling out of his base. He did not realize that army was sitting there. He loses all of his roaches. He's on mass roach ravager, so I don't think he's going to die. But SHOWTIME, he's trying to pressure because he's afraid of mutas coming. He's got to get out of here. Seeing that much roaches, SHOWTIME needs to just recall, I think. He's got a disruptor. He's going to throw a big ball. He does get 2 roaches there. Time to go home for SHOWTIME. I think a recall's the way to do it. Oh, save the sentries, I think. Or maybe drop. Okay, yeah, he's out. He's out. He's okay. He's got more disruptors on the way, more zealots. Only 1 cannon on the 4th. If he could get batteries up there, that would be huge. That would be a big help for him. He's trying to kill his cyber core. That seems like a mistake right now. I don't think he needs to do that, guys. Did he? Oh, his Archon's stuck in there. Oh, he recalled one of his Archons. Okay, I see. All right. Ravager's going to go down to the Oracle steadily. Phoenix picks up one of them as well. You got Zealots here. He's trying to send his Prism out to the left. It's got all of his sentries still inside. That Archon getting trapped inside, creating a bit of a ruckus here. SHOWTIME needs some good crisis management. The Queens are arriving, and that means the Oracle and the Phoenix are gonna have to fall back. More disruptors are on the way. He can only warp in charge lots right now. Charge lots are very good fighting units, but that's such a massive roaches. They're not gonna do that well. The extra disruptor shots off cooldown. 3rd one coming in as well. Now, if SHOWTIME loses the 4th, it's not the end of the game, but he doesn't want to fall down that base. That's his advantage right now. And look at that good disruptor shot. A bunch of roaches go flying. With the battery overcharge backing this up now as well, he can't just run into it with the Zealots, though. He cannot run into it, or the roaches get really good trades. You've got to be careful. It's not a good fight for SHOWTIME with those good disruptor shots, though. And that's the big problem for Mr. Lambo. He builds 14 mutas. Now, the Phoenix count's still building. That's very wise of SHOWTIME. He realizes at this point, if you've committed to a Spire, then a giant Roach Queen push, you're kind of stuck in the shit tier tech. And what do you do with shit tier tech? You attack with Roachling, you attack with Roachling, you swap into mutas, you swap back into Roachling, you swap into mutas, and you're trying to kind of do tech switch chicken where you're catching your opponent off guard. Because of that, extra cannon and a battery and 3 Phoenix in the main, I think as long as that cannon and battery finish, which they will because the mutas are still gathering up, they're not ready to go in, I think he's going to be just fine. Now, obviously, if he commits even more to the mutas, that could be an issue. He goes in, and only 1 cannon in the natural, actually. Lambo, oh, he's already got a Phoenix kill. Oh, Lambo with some sick micro. The batteries are causing problems, but guess what? Stalkers can warp in to back this up. So it's not a matter of can you get some kills. This is not 6 or 7 mutas where, oh, I killed some probes and a stalker. Yeah. This is 14 mutas that he built. He's still got 14 out, despite losing 3. So 17 mutas, in fact, that he built. He added quite a few more. Now the Prism's ready to go into his base. Gotta be careful there. He's gonna go after some probes. Lambo is trying to go into Ravager Bane behind this. He is stuck, as I said, in the shit tier tech. He's trying to just keep the action going. And I think at this point, Lambo probably needs to think about maybe hiding some roaches in the top left. If he could sneak some roaches in when SHOWTIME counter pushes him, once his Bane nest is done, Roach Bane on the right, I think he needs to play like a backstabbing game and find a way to get in on the economy of SHOWTIME. Oh, he recalls the Warp Prism to save it. SHOWTIME goes in the main, sieges it up into Warp in mode, and then recalls it as the mutas head back. Well done by SHOWTIME. Fleet Beacon's on the way for him as well. Hive coming out for Lambo. Lambo has a good economy. He has a good bank. So don't get me wrong, this position's always technically salvageable. It's just that your army is trash. If he had Bane speed, it would be a little more viable. I think he wishes he had a few more Ravagers right now. That ball is so hard to fight. My God. The Archons, the Disruptors! And that's just, I think that might just be it. He's rebuilding 25 roaches. He's got a lot of units building. The problem is, if you got Archon Disruptor up against you, you're in big trouble. The mutas find the mineral line. The cannon battery defending it, though. What are they going to be able to do? Not that much. The army pushing in. Lambo realizing he can't really fight this front on. He's got to dance around it and try to fight. But with the Phoenix coming in, that's going to cause him problems. That's enough Phoenix where they can basically hunt him down. He does separate some of the Archon Stalker off to the left and takes him down. But the moment SHOWTIME's attention is there, the Disruptors zone him out. Mutas, idle, Zerglings there on the back, ready to come in for a flank. But against Zealot Archon, those Zerglings are not useful units. I think if they paired up with the mutas, that would probably be their better use. So much cannon battery, though, reinforcing the defenses on this base. I think if he ran the Lings in the natural with the mutas, that's his best bet. But the Lings coming back, he's morphing a Baneling flank, Baneling speed, almost finished there for Lambo. SHOWTIME on the right side, he's got 3 Disruptors, 3 Archons, an Immortal, a pack of Stalkers and Zealots. It's a big blob of roaches. Lambo, show me your finest Raynor. What the fuck is a Raynor, pig? Raynor is when you beat an army that is technical and good with nothing but roaches, ravages, and the raw power of your mechanical skill and micro. I don't know if Lambo's going to be able to do it, though. The Baneling flank coming in, getting some pretty good hits on the clumped up Stalkers and the like. Roaches coming in from the south, but those Disruptors, they're all cooling off. And when your balls are cooled off and you're ready to dump another Disruption Nova, that is a problem. And Showtime getting an incredibly important win here over Lambo. Of course, making it even more of a chance of him getting here into the main tournament. Technically, there is a lower bracket. Lambo still has a chance to qualify, but Showtime, he wants to take that higher spot in the rankings off Lambo, and this is a very important first step.